What is up, you guys? Welcome to today's video. So before we get started, I do want to mention a trigger warning for SA. If that is something that triggers you or that makes you uncomfortable, please click off of this video, as I would rather you take care of your health than prioritize a video. But before we get started, I just wanted to mention that, so let's get into it. Now, we're going to go ahead and start by reading up this post. Moses English voice actor Chris Niosi has admitted to abuse sexually of colleagues and tried to take advantage of an ex while she was drunk. Don't shut up about this, make it reach Hoyoverse, and hopefully they will replace him. Now, it's time that I apologize to all of the people I've hurt. My name is Christopher Niosi, also known as Kerbifer. I am 30 years old, and for about half of my lifetime, I have horribly mistreated and abused friends, colleagues, and even my significant others. It is time that I addressed each and every one of those people and responded to their feelings with individual apologies for what I've done to hurt them. This will be a master post containing all of the appropriate posts in one location so that the people they have been written for, along with anyone else who wishes to read them, can easily access the information. I will provide a foreword about everything. Now, abuse controversies. In response to Tumblr and Twitter call-out posts on July 18, 2019, Niosi made a post on his Tumblr account confessing that he had been emotionally and sexually abusing colleagues, family, and partners for over a decade. Niosi's post highlighted specific instances of abuse for which he issued public apologies. In response to one of these incidents where Niosi violated a non-disclosure agreement by leaking his role as the male version of Byleth in the Fire Emblem series via Discord, Nintendo recast him with Zack Aguilar in Fire Emblem Heroes and Fire Emblem Three Houses. If you don't know who Zack Aguilar is, that's the English voice actor for Ether from Genshin Impact. Niosi's credit was removed from Heroes as of July 25, 2019, and the distribution of the character was delayed. Following day, Aguilar was also stated to have re-recorded Byleth's lines for Three Houses and would be replacing the original voiceovers in the following patch, which went live on September 11th of 2019. Now, I want to make this painfully clear. No one Chris Niosi has hurt has forgiven him. He never admitted to the sexual coercion, which was the bare minimum. He refused to drop his public relationship with another credibly accused grapeist, also the bare minimum. Chris Niosi skirted these allegations, hoping no one would look into it, and unfortunately that tactic has worked quite a bit. Let me make this clear, Niosi is a sexually coercive creep and has done so to several women. He has stalked and he has restrained people trying to get away from him. He has physically manhandled women in public and even tried to sexually take advantage of an ex while she was drunk. This event was a catalyst, and some people close to him left him after excusing his behavior for far too long. He has used people, he has anger issues, and blows up at women in private. Hot-blooded screaming. He employs Darvo tactics on the regular. He has sent countless abuse by proxy friends after people trying to get away from him or speaking up about him. I had to deal with that during the worst of it several times. He has tried to ruin other people's careers. To quote Kayleen from the testimonies document, "You will never meet someone as self-absorbed and selfish as Kerbifer. He calls the abuse manipulation and sexual coercion of others gossip, abuse that he partook in and stayed silent about. To reiterate, no one relevant to the situation has forgiven him." Now, one thing that I do want to mention is, even though people might think that this person has changed, regardless of that, that's not really up to anyone to decide at the end of the day how the victims should feel or what they should do with their pain and their trauma. In my opinion, I don't think that for something as serious as grape, I don't think there's really something for them to forgive. It's not really something that gets forgiven. This kind of apology is done to the public to apologize to the public, not to apologize to the victims. This is for his own benefit, not for anyone else's. Now, if you thought that made things bad, it gets worse as Griffin Puatu, which is Sunday's English voice actor, came forward in support of Chris Niosi. It seems the comment section is very split, with many expressing disappointment in the response. Now let's go ahead and read this. English voice actor for Sunday response to Chris Niosi controversy. Hi, my name is Griffin Puatu. I'm the English voice actor for Sunday and Honkai Star Rail. I wanted to make a post here regarding the Chris Niosi situation. Back in 2019, ex-girlfriends and former friends of Chris accused him of sexual, emotional abuse, and more. Those accusations were responded to by Chris, who owned up to and apologized for the things he actually did, while also correcting the record for what he did not do. No criminal charge has ever been brought against him, and over the past 5 years, Chris has struggled to improve himself and right these wrongs. While slowly trying to regain his ability to work again, during that time, Chris has earned the support of many of his colleagues, both privately and publicly. He has been hired by multiple studios for work in between then and now, even after facing consequences, firings, and blacklists for what he did. The reason why many of us had front row seats to everything that happened and knew that Chris has apologized, changed, and grown. We are happy he is working again and gets to pursue a living for himself in an industry that he loves dearly. Some didn't. They have every right to feel however they feel, but that doesn't make it true, and it certainly doesn't give them the right to dictate whether or not Chris ever gets to work again. If your view is that no amount of change or apology is enough to forgive someone who's wronged you, and that you have the power to decide whether or not that individual gets to earn a living or not, then you're an unreasonable person. Now, I want to talk about this statement because I don't think anybody assumes that they have the power to agree or to have the control over someone who's wronged them. I don't think any of the victims are holding a grudge like that. I think most of them just want awareness for what's happened to them. And I don't even know if it's them exactly who are still the ones who are fighting. It is still something that should definitely be talked about, though, and telling people how or how not to talk about something that traumatic that happened to people. I don't think that's something that you should hide or censor the amount people can talk about it. And you shouldn't also judge people because they're discussing it. Wait, that's just my opinion on that specific statement. Let's continue reading. Those of us who have watched his journey from cancellation to growth and redemption, we believe in him. We've seen him change, we've watched him take all of the right steps, not knowing if it would make a difference or get him his career back, but because it was the right thing to do. During the time, he's been hired back for roles at multiple studios, while other voice actors who face cancellation have not. Why? Because his situation is different from theirs and warranted welcoming him back. Now, for this statement, I do think that people can change, but at the same time, how much of it is for public appearance? You don't know if he's still doing the same things behind the scenes, but at the same time, we can't make assumptions. So, my hope in voicing support for Chris is to broaden the discussion and provide another side to the story. Right now, Twitter X is drowning in negativity with death threats and calls for his firing running rampant. This type of toxic discourse is why I left the platform back in 2023 and no longer post there. Keep an account to respond to casting calls and auditions for my job, but I refuse to add fuel to the heaping trash fire that it is. I know posting this puts me at risk for the same sort of vitriol that Chris is facing right now. I don't care. I would rather stand up for my colleague than remain silent. Now, I definitely don't agree with the fact that death threats should be made against anybody. I never think that that's the solution to anything. People who are making death threats should definitely not be doing that, and that's one of the worst things that people could do. I don't know why people still make death threats. It's one of the dumbest things ever. But I don't think death threats solve anything or will help in this situation or any situation. And like I said, they should not be made against anybody, regardless of what they've done. Things can be handled a legal way if there is need for it, or they can be discussed, but there's no need for death threats. So I just wanted to mention that. But I do agree that they should have kept quiet, like this person stated. The entire thing is tone deaf and extremely frustrating to read, in my opinion. I do agree it's pretty tone deaf of him to make that statement. Now, as for his statement saying that it would potentially cost him work, like for same as Moses VA, yeah, he was right. He predicted it. So we'll go ahead and read this. He has lost 3 roles because of this statement that he made. Now, the first one is for Lost in Limbo visual novel. In light of recent events, we have decided as a team not to move forward with Griffin Puatu as Gale's VA and not use the lines already provided to us. Character will be recasted soon, and we will update you on this matter ASAP. Thank you for understanding. Next one, ZZ Sleeps. Due to recent events, Shu will be recasted. I'll be working on a new VA call when I get home later this week. This is the third one, so he's up to 3. Rascal DevWorks. Given recent developments, I have decided to remove Griffin Puatu's voice work from Sigh of the Abyss. Malek will be recast soon. So, yeah, he definitely should have stayed quiet as it costed him 3 roles defending someone else for something that he definitely should not have spoken out about. As I stated, I think it's up to the victims to decide how they grieve, and I don't think it's up to anybody to decide when it's time for them to forgive. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this situation as I find it very disheartening and very sad. Peace out.